Welcome to DFS Insights, where the game behind the game comes to life. I am David Geislinger, and alongside me is David Grant Jr., my cousin and co-strategist. The teams up on the block are the New Orleans Pelicans at the Sacramento Kings.
With your lineup success as our top priority, this is where David and I will dive deep into our top three players that we like for this matchup. We will break down the strategy behind our picks and share insights to enhance your lineups. And don't miss out on the finale where we reveal two fully hand-procured lineups absolutely free.
Yeah, and nice. Before we get into breaking this game down here, go ahead and take a moment and put your three key players who you think are going to be that standout for this matchup here down in the comments, and we would love to comment anything that we have on your three key players, and hopefully after watching this video we can go ahead and change your mind with ours. So with that, getting over into it, good old New Orleans Pelicans coming into town here to Sacramento. Not really too thrilled about that because of what happened last game. Up on the screen here, they did come and basically they rocked us 133 to 100. Yeah, pretty embarrassing game. The top three fantasy scorers on the Pelicans: C.J. McCollum at 47.4, Brandon Ingram at 38, and Jonas at 32.9. They will not have Ingram for this matchup. We'll go over that in the injuries. And the top three for the Kings: Sabonis, Herter, and Keon Ellis. Surprisingly, Sabonis at 38, Herter at 28.7, and then going all the way down to 19.9, our third highest fantasy scorer last matchup. And so everybody knows De'Aaron Fox did actually play 26 minutes and only got 7.4 fantasy points. So that hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this matchup it's a must win for the Kings. We need it currently. It looks, with the Phoenix Suns just beating the Clippers, that did hurt. I was really hoping the Clippers, pulled one out. That would give us basically 7th position. And then if we were to beat the New Orleans, we'd be tied for 6th. And then basically on Friday, we'd go into Phoenix and potentially we could secure 6th spot. But right now it's looking, we need a win here, and then we need to beat Phoenix on Friday. For sure. So yeah, not too much else I can say. So just getting right over here to basically the main stats here of the matchup. We got Kings are favored by 1 point after getting blown out by 33. Their last matchup, the last matchup didn't mention, was in January 7th of this year. It looks to be fairly low scoring game. Over-under's only at about, I think it's all 217.5, but about 218 was probably the most common I saw. Kings offensively, both Kings and Pelicans about the same. Kings at a 116.0. Defensive rating for the Kings, 114.5. Kings have a slightly faster pace at 99.52. Pelicans offensive rating, as I said, similar to the Kings, 116.5. Defensive rating, they're pretty solid. They're well below the league average. They're at a 111.7, and their pace slightly slower at 98.60. So they'll get the positive pace differential, a little boost there going against the Kings. Notable injuries: Brandon Ingram's out. He's been out for several weeks, months now, so the rotation's kind of already adapted, and they're still sitting pretty good. And then Najee Marshall doesn't seem to be too much of a factor up there, but just keep in mind game time decision questionable. Injuries for the Kings, as if you do know, Malik Monk is out, Kevin Huerter's out. That hurts a lot. Big one to look out for in this game is Keegan Murray coming with the game time decision questionable tag. That is huge because that's a key player, offensive player. So definitely want to be hitting that like, subscribe, notification bell, and staying tuned because we do post any kind of breaking news as soon as it comes up down in the comments section below. So with that, I'll send it over to David if he wants to add anything before we go ahead and get into our key player breakdowns here.
Yeah, not much to say, man. Just except let's go Kings. Just reiterating, we just gotta win this one. We got two huge games. We got this one in Phoenix, and fingers crossed that we can get that 6th seed and not have to deal with this play-in. If we did deal with the play-in, optimally, I'd rather face the Lakers, even though we don't get to choose. Um, but yeah, I think we can go ahead and dive in and see what it's going to take to make some money off of this game.
Nice, nice. All right, who you got as your first go round here?
So my first guy up here on the block that I'm going to be definitely being overexposed to is Mr. Domantas Sabonis.
All right.
Yep, he is obviously the most expensive guy up here at 15.5. You know, it's if we're going to win this game, it's going to go through him. Um, Fox hasn't done well this season really against New Orleans. I think it's just their defense is nice and especially against that position. So I think it's going to come down to like more of Sabonis and even like Trey Lyles and like a Keegan Murray type of a thing, a little bit more of a team effort. But as far as like that guy who's going to, get the upper 40s, as high as 60s in the fantasy point range, Sabonis is going to be that guy for us for the Kings. So, he'll be mainly at MVP. I will be having him at star as well. I don't really see playing him at pro very much. If you're doing it for an ownership reason, I guess so. Definitely not in utility. I'll be mainly game scripting as if the Kings win. Personally, I'm shocked they're favored by one. I don't know how that's possible, especially with no Malik Monk, and if we don't know what's up with Keegan Murray. So it'll be interesting, but nonetheless, Sabonis, he's done. The last game against them, we lost by 30, as you mentioned. So none of us really did that great from a fantasy perspective. But the game before that, on December 4th, Sabonis did have 65 fantasy points. So we do know what a ceiling game and then it seems like what a floor game for him looks like against this team, as he has had 43 fantasy points and 29 fantasy points in the other matchups from this season. So, is that right? Okay, let's make sure I didn't. Yeah, that's correct. So that's my first play. What are your thoughts on that? And who do you got here for your first play?
Yeah, no, I agree because I'll just roll right into my first selection at being Mr. Domantas Sabonis as well. I think, unfortunately, the streak ended against the Thunder. I only ended up with 8 points. That was a rough game, up by 20 points and then losing it at the end. Just crazy. But anyways, not to dwell on that. But yeah, I do like him, like you mentioned, MVP star pro. I think if I'm going with the ownership, I might just drop him to star. Going down to pro would be a huge ownership play, but I think he's going to redeem himself here and get back to his usual double, triple self. So last 5 games, averaging 34.6 minutes. Usage 23.4, averaging 48 fantasy points, crazy, and he's projected roughly 48.5. I think he's roughly projected a few places, the highest on the card, or the slate here, the card. That's funny. I definitely like him. I like the matchup. He has the best matchup I guess position-wise in this game. The Pelicans giving up roughly about 44.7 fantasy points per game to his position. So they just recently gave up 47 to Aton, 36 to Nurkic, 54.9 to Wembe, 29.7 to Carter Jr., then again to Nurkic, 55.8, and then a 51.5 to Brzezinski. So, yeah, they're giving up, they're handing out fantasy points to the, power forward center position. So I think DeMontis has the skills. He has the, the usage on the team to get it done. So that's what I'm expecting. A high. I think he would definitely be one of the highest fantasy point person in this matchup.
Especially at home, coming off the road trip that we were just on. We were on a 4-game East Coast road trip against New York, Boston, Brooklyn, OKC, and then now we've had a couple days rest. So, a couple days rest and at home. He typically does really well off of those type of games. So, yeah, great. That's what's up. Who you got here for your second guy up on the block?
Second guy up on the block, I'm actually going to go with, the DFS Insights motto here, bigs against, insert a few teams here. So bigs against the Kings is one of those. So I'm going to go here with Jonas Valanciunas. I like the matchup against the Kings. Kings do give up, quite a bit of, fantasy points to opposing centers. So with, Jonas here, last five games, he's only averaging 19 minutes. That's the one thing I don't really like about the play. His usage is insane for those minutes he's in, is at 26.4. He's averaging 25.5 points. He's projected roughly about 23.9 points. I do like him in all the positions, multipliers with the exception of MVP. I say star, that's more my play for ownership because Kings do give up more than normal points to his position. So I think if he does get on a roll against the Kings, he might see his higher than usual minutes played. So, there are some games where he's basically high teens, low 20s, but then he does have a game or two that he's in the mid 20s, upper 20s, and that's typically when he's having a higher scoring game. So, with that, I like to play. I like the matchup against him. Kings giving up 35.2, fantasy points. They recently just gave up probably one of the reason besides SGA. Holmgren had a 40.8 against us. Then 22.5 from Clowney, a 44.2 from Brzezinski, 34.9 from Hartstein, and 33.7 from Zubac. So Kings do give up quite a bit fantasy points to the opposing centers. So that's why I like him. I'd probably be very limited in that star position. I think he's going to fall a lot more in pro for me.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's actually my second play as well because, again, living by the motto, it's bigs against us. Unfortunately, against the Kings is one of the top 5 teams with bigs against. So, as you mentioned, limited minutes. With him is the one scary thing. I have seen games where he's played 19 minutes and scored 40 fantasy points, though. So, I mean, that is still a possibility, especially against the Kings. Looking at the games, he played 22 minutes against us last game. He did get a 29-minute game against us when we played them back in December. So at least we know, there is possibility for him to get up around that 30-minute range, which would be awesome. But he can do that damage in 19 minutes. I mean, it's against us, and I've seen him do it against better teams. So, as you mentioned, ownership-wise, he'll probably be pretty high owned at the pro. That's fine. I'll have him at pro, even at utility. I'll have a couple in the star because he does have the potential, definitely, to to be there to hit that. So that would be the ownership move by playing him. Uh, so yeah, like you mentioned, I'll be very high on him, which will lead me into my third play, my third and final play here. I'm going to go with Mr. Larry Nance. Um, at 8,500. Um,
8K.
oh yeah, even better at 8K. Um, he even in, you know, he's pretty much a fantasy point a minute type of guy. He can do more damage than that as well. I'm kind of quickly looking. Uh, against us last game, he did play 14 minutes and only have 17 fantasy points. I don't, that was back in January. Um, he's had some great games though. Like recently against Phoenix, he got 31 minutes, had 40 fantasy points. It's he does a little bit of everything, or when he does a little bit of everything, I should say, is when he gets it. He had 3 steals, a block, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, 9 points, because he can do a little bit of everything. Against Milwaukee, he got 24 minutes, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. So when he can get, a couple blocks or a couple steals, he can still do things. Um, and again, uh, I don't believe he's starting. He shouldn't be. As a reserve, um, like I could see him getting some extra time if the Kings don't win. If we lost by 30 last time, and if for whatever reason we're unable to be competitive, I could see him getting some extra minutes. And if he gets those extra minutes at the 8K, I think he could really exceed value. So by having him in there, it allows you to really build a pretty powerful lineup, in my opinion, and uh, yeah, build a powerful lineup and do some good stuff there. So that's my third and final play. What are your thoughts on Mr. Larry Nance, and who do you got here to wrap us up with?
Yeah, I think for him, I think it would be a fall more into the line of my construction if, the Pelicans do pull out basically another, high scoring, differential thing where he's going to see more minutes. I mean, he's not too bad. Last 5 games, he's averaging 20.8 minutes and was it 14 usage. So he does get some time while he's in, and he has decent scoring fantasy per minute. So I think he'll be if everything pans out as a regular game, I guess as regular game as you could get, I guess. He'll probably be in the mid-teens, maybe high teens, but I think if you're scripting where Pelicans pull out and get ahead and in the fourth quarter and he's getting that little extra minutes, I think he might have a decent game. Probably maybe mid-20s or so. But at that salary, that's still pretty good too. So it's going to fall down for at least for him. The lineup I'm constructing basically.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So no, good pick. Good New Orleans. So I'm assuming your lineup's going to have something. If you have him in it, going to be something along those lines there. My third.
Oh yeah, as I said, my lineup will prove how as a diehard Kings fan, how unbiased I am when free lineup here drops. So sorry, let's who you got here for your third pick?
Third pick, as you've seen up on the screen, got a little jumped ahead here. Harrison Barnes, I like the matchup here. I do like him sitting at the pro and utility. He's also an 8K player. He's averaging last 5 games 21.1 minutes, usage 15.4, averaging 21.2 fantasy points. He's only projected 13 this game. However, I think he should exceed that, and not only that, if based on obviously the tag for Mr. Keegan Murray, I do like his usage and points to go up as well. So I'm looking forward to that news for Keegan Murray. He does actually have the second best matchup of the slate here. The Pelicans are giving up about 30 fantasy points to his position. Recently, just giving up to Keegan's brother, Chris Murray, giving up 28 fantasy points. Then to Allen from Phoenix, 27.5. Champagne, 39.8. The Franz Wagner, 32.9, and 38.4 to Jaylen Brown. So yeah, they do give up points to his position, and looking back, if you are to go back a few games, he does have the potential for those higher, mid to high 20s, low 30 point games, and I think this has the potential to be one of those. I do like the matchup that he has against the Pelicans here.
Nice. Yeah. I definitely like that pick, especially if, as you mentioned, Keegan Murray is out. I was trying to look up some news on Keegan Murray's injury. It doesn't seem like, I think he's going to play. Is kind of what it's leaning towards from what I'm gathering that from. I don't see anything saying that it's super serious, and if it's not super serious, this is an important game for both teams here. And if he's able to get out there, I think he's going to do it. But let's just say that he does play. I still like the Harrison Barnes play. Again, he's at 8K. He's done, at the 8K range. He has hit 26 and 24 fantasy points this season against the Pelicans, and he gets the minutes. And again, if we clamp down and get this win, we're going to need all of our guys to step up, and he's one of the better defenders out there that can get a couple extra steals or maybe an extra block, score a couple extra points than usual, hit a couple threes, something like that. He's that guy. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. That's why I loved him when we got him. I unfortunately don't think he met my expectations of what I thought he was going to turn into when we got him from Golden State. I know I'm being a little long-winded here, but I was a big diehard Harrison Barnes fan. I was excited when we got him. But yeah, solid pick. Before we get over to the lineup side, what are your thoughts on Trey Lyles or Keon Ellis? Coming off the crazy awesome game. I mean,
it was a toss up between Barnes and Keon Ellis. I've been playing the Keon Ellis card. I think the last 3 or 4 times we've covered the Kings. I do like him in this matchup. Not as much as Barnes. Like I said, Barnes has the second projected easiest matchup against the Pelicans, and Keon Ellis I think is sitting at like the third hardest against his position. So they're not giving up too much fantasy points to that position. He has kind of settled in. He did just come off that banger of a game. I think 40 fantasy points or so. So I think he's settling in. He's definitely at least. I want to, he's filling the shoes. I'll say that he's filling the shoes, for Herder for sure. Obviously, Herder had those baller games and stuff like that a little bit more frequently, but he kind of died off. And he's a lot more hit and miss now. Malik Monk, definitely miss him.
Yeah.
And as far as the Trey Lyles play, I like him. He's a good thing. I will like him more if Keegan Murray doesn't play. Keegan Murray doesn't play. I think, to be honest, the Barnes play might be switched for the Lyles if I had to pick. I like Lyles. I like his hustle. I like it. He has a really nice shot, and I could see him getting quite a bit of time if Murray doesn't play. So
nice, yeah. Because I think a lot of game log trolls. I think Keon's going to be the highest owned out of those players there, even at that 9K. So the reason to not play him is that he's not going to have that kind of game again. As much as I love him and he is doing great, it's like I just feel like his ownership is going to be 10 to 15% higher than what it should be, solely because of that game he just had.
Well, I mean, technically last game that they played, he scored 20 fantasy points, and it was all in the fourth quarter. He only played the fourth quarter, and he scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. Mind you, I think Pelicans probably had their fifth string in. They pulled people from the audience, I think, to play the end of the game. But yeah, but no. So yeah, there's a few options. Yeah, obviously it's the NBA, so you have to wait till the last minute to make final decisions with the breaking news. So. And make sure don't do what I just recently did. Set alarms to edit lineups, so you don't forget to take out players that appear to be injured. Late news there. So that recently just happened to me. So, and with that, yeah, let's. So now, if you did just jump ahead, welcome to DFS Insights. We're about to give you our lineup, so you feel free to go back and look over our key players so you can fully understand why the lineups we did, and even help you generate potentially more lineups similar to this. So with that, without further ado, make sure obviously you like, subscribe, comment in the section below before we get over here, and lineups up on the screen here. Yep. Okay. Two fairly different lineups for you guys to enter, to pick through. Please let us know what you think. Love to hear your comments, and your guys' strategy, and we can work together here. So with that, again, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. We are going to be going pretty heavy on the Fanduel single game playoffs. Quite a bit here. We're trying to get at least cover the bulk of the playoff games, for sure. At least I could probably guarantee all the West Coast games, and then as much East Coast as we can do. And then also, if you're into it as well, we do cover UFC over for DraftKings. That there is a video up currently for the UFC 300. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. I'll have that actually here, following this video. So it'll just put you right into it. So strap in, kick back, grab yourself something to drink, and good luck. See you on the leaderboards. David, take it away.
Yep. Hey, as you guys can see by my lineup here, hey, I'm a diehard Kings fan. I hope we get this win, but I put the lineup out there that, I think does have the best chance of making everybody some money. So I'm definitely entering that lineup in. Don't get me wrong, I'll be doing about 15 lineups, and doing other ones where the Kings win, because I'm also going to be doing what I'll be doing a couple lineups with my heart, even though they are favored by one. I don't know how, but yeah, please again like, subscribe, check out that UFC 300 video. For DraftKings, I know a lot of NBA guys out there. I'm a big UFC, fans as well. So stay tuned. Lots of MMA content, lots of playoff content coming your way, and like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.